Coaches getting choked, Instagram parties going wild, and players calling people religious slurs while playing Call of Duty on Twitch? These shocking mistakes cost NBA players millions. First on our Hall of Shame roster, let's talk about an idiotic mistake that you can't even imagine. Enter Nerlens Noel, the guy who thought he was shooting for the stars but ended up shooting air balls. In 2017, Noel was a decent role player for Dallas, putting up 8 points and 7 rebounds a game. Not bad, right? But oh boy, he thought he was LeBron 2.0 and demanded a whopping $146 million contract. Mark Cuban, the Mavericks owner, couldn't hit the undo button fast enough on his original $70 million offer. He told Noel to take a hike and shop his delusions elsewhere. To everybody's surprise, nobody was in the market for a $146 million 8-pointer. So Noel found himself teamless and, well, broke. And the ironic part? Dallas took him back, this time with a laughable $4 million offer. So, Nerlens Noel was stunned when he crunched the numbers and realized he'd just flushed $66 million down the drain. Alright, if you thought Noel was a unique specimen for stupid mistakes, wait till you hear about Vladimir Manovich. This guy played Russian roulette with $30 million and won. Flashback to 2006, when Vladdy Daddy landed a sweet $30 million gig with the Lakers. Just one teeny tiny catch. No extreme sports. Yep, the Lakers were like, Vlad, don't even think about risky stuff, alright? But Manovich thought, snowboarding in Utah? That sounds like a great idea. First day on the slopes and boom, man down. Vlad separated his shoulder. If the Lakers found out, he'd be out of the league. So the Lakers adrenaline junkie flies back to LA and cooks up a lie for Jerry Buss, the team owner. Tells him he slipped on ice, and get this, Jerry buys it. Just when you think he's in the clear, guilt hits him like a 3-pointer at the buzzer. He confesses, risking the entire $30 million and his career. But surprise, surprise, Jerry was so touched by the honesty, he just fined him $500,000. Yep, Vlad kept the rest of his $30 million and stayed on the team. Next up is Latrell Sprewell, the man who took broke to a new level. It's like he torched a whole mountain of cash and now only has ashes to show for it. We're taking you back to 1997, a year Latrell probably wants to forget, but can't. Why? He went full-on Homer Simpson and choked his coach, PJ Carlesimo, in front of his teammates. His reason? The coach told him to make better passes. Yeah, let that sink in. The NBA hit him with a year-long suspension and poof, there goes $6 million of his Warrior salary. You'd think he learned his lesson, right? Nope. Flash forward to 2004, Minnesota Timberwolves dangled a $21 million contract in front of him. Latrell looked at it and said, nah, can't feed my family with that. Seriously, after saying no to that kind of cheddar, not a single team wanted him. Game over. Forced retirement. Now it's 2007. No job, and the bills are piling up like dirty laundry. Does he take responsibility? Nah, he dodges child support. Remember that family he couldn't feed on $21 million? Well, they took him to court and sued him for $200 million. Oh, and let's add insult to injury, or rather, bankruptcy. His yacht got repossessed, his house was foreclosed, and the taxman came knocking for $3 million. In short, Latrell's self-inflicted mistakes drained him of hundreds of millions. From NBA star to empty pockets, it doesn't get worse than that. Okay, we've heard some shocking stories, but what if I told you some players almost lose more than money? They almost lost their lives. I'm talking about Gilbert Arenas, and boy did this escalate quickly. It's 2009, and Gilbert's on a team flight heading back to Washington. Killing time, he starts a card game with his teammates. He's raking it in, winning a few rounds and making some cash. But his teammate, Javaris Crittenden, isn't too happy about losing. Words are exchanged and threats are made. Gilbert even threatens to set Javaris' car on fire. Teammates intervene, separating them, and everyone thinks it's water under the bridge. Well, not quite. Fast forward to 2 nights later after a game against Philly. Gilbert is still hot about the card game and decides to go on another level. He walks up to Javaris in the locker room and pulls out a gun. Yeah, a legit gun. Like a scene from a Wild West showdown, Javaris pulls out his piece. Suddenly you've got 2 NBA players in a locker room, armed and dangerously stupid. Everyone else, they did the smart thing and cleared out. Eventually, cooler heads, or maybe the fear of going to jail, prevailed, and both men put their guns away. But you can't just walk away from this. It's felony territory. A few days later, word gets to the Washington, D.C. police and an investigation kicks off. Gilbert confesses and faces the music. The NBA suspended him without pay for the rest of the 2009 season, which sliced over $10 million from his salary, all because of a card game. A card game nearly cost a man his life and cost him $10 million. Ridiculous doesn't even begin to cover it. From card games to video games, you'd be surprised how small stakes can lead to high costs. Because one NBA player nearly threw away his career over, wait for it, a game of Call of Duty. I'm talking about Meyers Leonard. Here's a guy who's living the dream. In 2019, he was playing basketball for the Miami Heat, and when he wasn't on the court, he was on Twitch, racking up thousands of viewers. The man was so deep into the gaming scene that he even joined FaZe Clan. By 2020, he'd scored sponsorships with the likes of Astro Gaming, Scuff Gaming, and Origin PC. Meyers Leonard was dunking baskets one night and playing Call of Duty for thousands of fans the next. But then March 2021 rolled around, and Leonard made what could be the dumbest mistake of his life. Live on stream in front of thousands, Leonard let loose a religious slur. The NBA did not take it lightly. They slapped him with a $50,000 fine. But the real blow came when he lost all of his gaming sponsorships and got banned from Twitch. That alone had him losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then, the Miami Heat decided Leonard was bad news and shipped him off to Oklahoma City. 2 days later, Oklahoma City said, "Thanks, but we'll pass," and cut him. The second year of his contract, poof, gone, along with the $10 million he could have made in 2021. Before we wrap up this list of idiotic mistakes by NBA players, let's shed light on some honorable mentions. First up, we've got Dennis Schroeder, who dared to turn down a 4-year, $84 million contract extension from the LA Lakers. You'd think he was channeling the confidence of a prime Magic Johnson with that move. Sadly for him, the gamble didn't pay off. After rejecting the Lakers' offer, he found himself settling for a 1-year deal with the Boston Celtics worth a sad $5.9 million. And then we've got the modern wannabe gangster of the NBA, Ja Morant. Now, Ja's talent is undeniable, but his decision-making off the court, highly questionable. Not once, but twice, Ja thought it would be a great idea to flash a gun on Instagram, live in front of millions. The Memphis Grizzlies were not thrilled, slapping him with a 10-game suspension. That alone cost him an All-NBA selection, and as a result, he missed out on an additional $39 million. As if that wasn't enough, the drama continued into the 2023-24 season, where he faced a 25-game suspension. With a per-game salary of $303,000, that's another $7.6 million gone, just like that. Speaking of Instagram Live and parties, our top spot for the GOAT of stupid mistakes has to go to Paul Pierce. After retiring from the NBA in 2017, Pierce seemed to have it all figured out. He signed a deal with ESPN to become an analyst for a cool $1.5 million per year. But it was in April of 2021 when Pierce hit rock bottom. This man thought it would be a great idea to go on Instagram Live during a party he was throwing. He's there playing poker, sipping on Hennessy, and puffing on some Mary Jane. And the entire world is watching, including his bosses at ESPN. Let's just say ESPN wasn't too amused by Pierce's choices that night. They decided to part ways with him almost immediately, costing him his $1.5 million annual salary. And while Pierce may have been laughing on the outside, one has to wonder if he's crying on the inside for the stupid mistake that cost him so much. But hey, maybe the ESPN firing was a blessing in disguise for Paul Pierce. I mean, come on. This is the guy who tried to school us all by saying LeBron James isn't a top 5 player of all time. Yep, he said that, and he was dead serious. As if that wasn't enough, he had the nerve to say he had a better career than Dwayne Wade. D. Wade, man, the Flash. Maybe his $1.5 million salary wasn't paying for a reality check. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments who you think made the biggest mistake. Catch you next time.